Hello and welcome to another episode. It's not a full episode. We're just going to discuss the middleweights today. Guys, if you don't know this channel, if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Eli has 12 kids to 8 different mothers. This is what he lives off. All right, so we're going to talk. You guys need to like and subscribe to help him out. So we're going to talk about the middleweights today and the predicament that they find themselves in.
A very
what do you think?
Very interesting predicament. I feel like they've if you're not Israel Adesanya, everyone else is getting left in the dark here. But then again, Israel Adesanya has every right to do what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? Moving up and trying to create a mega fight with John Jones, but very unfortunate for the rest of the middleweights. And probably the number one out of them, Robert Whittaker, most unfortunate for. Just coming off 2 wins after Israel's fight, Darren Till and then Jared Cannonier. Yeah, an impressive win over Cannonier. So very unfortunate. And then we have Paulo Costa, who's just come off a loss to a very poor performance. Was
it a poor performance, or was Israel just
that much better?
That much better.
I feel a little bit of both. I don't feel like Costa went out there and left everything on the line, which a lot of people expected him to try to go forward. Didn't really show much.
Could he though?
Yeah, but I don't feel like there was any volume there as well. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't any desperation. There wasn't any volume, which I found most disappointing.
He's come back later and said that he had an injury that was so bad that he could barely move or something.
Did he?
But even if he did, does it matter?
Yeah.
Because you know the thing is, man, when you fight people, if the other guy's injured and he has a compound fracture of his femur and you break his leg and you win, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like you don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way I see it is Israel has done everything he can do. He's beaten everyone, more or less there. He's beat Romero, Rob, Costa, Gastelum. They're all these top guys that he's beaten. I don't know, Brunson, and then Rob has gone and beaten everybody else.
Yeah.
He's beaten everyone else. Between the two of them, they've beaten everyone.
Yep. And
between the two of them, they beat Romero 3 times. So could you pull that up, Eli, the thing? So between them, so Paulo Costa's ranked number 2, right?
Yeah.
Israel beat him. Jared Cannonier is ranked number 3. Rob's beat him. Romero Hermanson, neither one of them has fought. Romero, they've beaten 3 times between them. Then there's Darren Till at number 6, and Darren Till has been beaten by Rob. Brunson's been beaten by both of them, and then there's Gastelum that's been beaten by Israel, and then Uriah Hall that's been beaten by Rob, and that is more or less your top 10.
Yep.
Other than Weidman. But you have to go all the way down to Weidman for someone that they haven't fought other than Jack Hermanson. Incidentally, Hermanson is now fighting Kevin Holland. I just see that Israel moving up kind of leaves Rob as the champ unofficially, if you will. Does that mean that should Rob and Hermanson fight for an interim belt then?
Now?
If Hermanson beats Kevin Holland, I'm getting ahead of myself, which is not a foregone conclusion, but if Hermanson beats Kevin Holland, does Rob fight Hermanson for an interim belt?
I don't like the interim belt. I just don't like it. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of it. I know the UFC aren't going to make him vacate his belt, but I feel like I don't like the champ status. I think as soon as you win that, if he wins that light heavyweight, then he has to vacate the belt. So he can have his 5 minutes.
Does he have to though? What if he can defend both? What if he can go back and forwards?
I don't like it.
But what if he can?
Amanda Nunes can. I don't.
No.
But I don't even feel that. I don't.
If they can, what if they can? What if he can fight middleweight in January and then fight light heavyweight in April, and then fight middleweight again in September?
Yeah.
How much more active do you want him to be?
Yeah, I just don't. That's how come I don't like it. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like the division can be great without one person having to dominate both of them.
But what if you're that good? Should you be punished?
No, you shouldn't be punished, but should everyone else be punished to have to wait?
He fucking hates you.
No, it's nothing to. I just named Amanda Nunes. Everyone who does it.
Yeah.
I just don't like the interim belt and that real. I think a fucking ordinary situation here for Robert Whittaker and the other guys. I know Paulo Costa's trying to make himself relevant by calling out Rob.
I think Rob's done enough. I think Robert Whittaker has done enough as well to warrant a shot at the belt.
Yeah,
I don't think
agree.
Costa has cemented himself as the number one guy after Rob, so to speak. So number two, even though in the rankings he is, but he hasn't done enough now after that loss to Israel. I think I'd like to see. The problem is for me is like you, like the interim belt would be kind of weird. You know, I don't know. Does Rob go up to light heavyweight?
I've mentioned it before.
Tell us your theory. Tell us your plan.
I feel that Robert Whittaker should call out Glover Teixeira, fight him at light heavyweight, and then he would be ranked number one contender in both middleweight and light heavyweight. And then that could be a fight where Robert Whittaker takes on Israel Adesanya for both the belts at middleweight.
Sounds like madness to me.
It could
madness.
Work. So mad, so crazy. It could work.
I don't know. Next thing you're going to say women should vote or something like that. There's a joke, people, where you think women should vote. Look, no, I like the idea in thing, but there's nothing to guarantee that anyways. Because let's say he wins, it doesn't mean that let's say Rob beats Glover.
Yep.
What does that do for the middleweights?
Yeah, it leaves them in even the situation they're in now. But like if without Rob there, we have
now you have one and
four,
two up on
a top four who are all coming off losses. So
not Hermanson.
He's number 5.
That's right.
So we have that it's.
And then you've got guys like Gastelum who have lost 3 in a row, but they're fantastic fighters
and could beat anyone in that
Absolutely.
top 5 on his day.
And he's given Israel, arguably his toughest fight that I can think of.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a very tough situation they're in. I don't have an answer. I don't think Paulo Costa, I just feel, is trying to make himself relevant by calling out Rob. I think that's a bad matchup for Costa. But that might be the biggest fight, the biggest draw card in that middleweight for Rob at the moment. I feel it might be Paulo Costa. Going to the injury thing, if Paulo Costa has an injury that's bad, fucking pull out of the fight. Come out before the fight and say, don't go on with this bullshit. I'm a warrior and I go in there and fight no matter what. Like, no, do you know what I mean? Then you do this shit poor performance that just takes your name away. And then now everyone says it's an excuse. No, I feel like if you have injury, come out with it, man. Do you know what I mean? We can make the fight again. But yeah, I feel like he's just trying to make himself relevant now.
He's still very relevant. I mean, he lost a fight.
Yeah, he is still relevant. But does he deserve the fight straight away with Rob? Because Rob deserves a title shot.
Yeah, and the thing I find funny is like we spoke about lightweight maybe doing a tournament, but in this scenario, I don't see it as a tournament because I see that far and away now there's a clear-cut favorite, number one person for the belt, and that's Robert Whittaker. But Israel Adesanya has gone up into light heavyweight. And in fairness, though, to Israel, even if Rob said, no, I want to fight you, Rob doesn't want to fight till March.
Yep.
So there's nothing pressing Israel. And it's fair enough for Rob not to want to fight till March too. He's just had back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
So it's fair enough that Israel says, well, I'm going to go up.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
no, he's got every right to pick and choose his fights.
No, so what I'm getting at is that those two can't fight anyways until March.
Yeah.
So you still have from November till March, those two weren't going to fight regardless.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
And Israel likes to stay active. He wants to make himself. He wants to take the most of the opportunity now. And at the moment, he's on a huge win streak. He's the superstar of the UFC. So I feel like he's using all that momentum to his advantage. And
so how far? What does a win over Kevin Holland? Not that it's a foregone conclusion. Not that it will happen for sure. But what does a win over Kevin Holland do for Hermanson, who's lost to Cannonier? Does that propel him up to the top? Whereas if you beat Till, If he had beaten Till, I would say he would be clear contender or to be right up there with Rob.
Yeah.
If he had beaten Till.
Yeah. But now he's fighting Kevin Holland. No, I don't feel like that propels him. Maybe it's a rematch for Joey Cannonier. Do you know what I mean? But I don't feel that warrants him to think then he has a match against Robert Whittaker.
Okay, that's but why can't the fight with Israel and Rob happen a little bit later down the track?
Because John Jones.
Oh, so you see, if he beats Jan,
that is exactly. He beats Jan. He's going to have John Jones's belt hanging over his shoulder, calling him out. It's on.
But that's if he beats Jan.
If he
he doesn't beat Jan, he comes back down and fights Rob.
I have him. Yeah, I have him beating Jan.
I believe that he can. Yeah.
Yep, I have him beating Jan, which then leaves the middleweights in a bit of a predicament because that John Jones fight will be there, and he won't be able to come back down to middleweight and defend his title. So he'll have to vacate it. Maybe.
Right.
Who knows with the UFC? Who knows? Guys, please tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, put your comments down. Tell us what you think. This wasn't a breakdown. This wasn't a prediction. This is just us talking about the middleweights and seeing what we think. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. If you're not new, like and subscribe. But leave your comments. Tell us what you think of these fights.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.